Okay guys, today we're going to be simulating if a civil war started out in the micronation of Doelyia. Now, I've outlined the cities, their boundaries, and labelled them as city so you can remember them. Now, let's start. So, the revolution would start over here as this area would try and succeed from everyone else. Now, they would slowly expand outwards and would start to claim more and more. Now, of course, this city over here is in very good danger. So, forces stack along this border. Meanwhile, they start to approach southernly. Now this is bad because they could get on a border with the UK and then they could just fall us into oblivion. Now they'll slowly start to expand out towards the border of these two states that we will continue to push down into their territory, try and block them off. Meanwhile, other places would also start to follow suit, like some areas in this part of the country, which would slowly grow into bigger areas as they start to control more. Now they start approaching southerly through the denser parts of the country, and now this is becoming a bit of a problem. And as we speak, these areas start to connect with each other to form a bigger area and start circling in on some of these areas, which is bad for this city. Now they start to breathe percussion off and start approaching the capital, which is bad. So what they do is they go upwards along their border and then they go behind the undefended areas. But we are prepared and we fight back through this relatively empty area of Doelyia, and we keep that protected. Meanwhile, these areas start to connect to form a bigger rebellion that's almost the size as the capital city. Now they start to enclosure on this northern bit of territory, but we start to approach and try and cut them off, and then we encircle them. But then they start going all the way over here and take over this area, and it's very valuable. There's like a shed over here, so they can easily use that as an outpost. But what happens is we immediately take back the territory they claimed to get there. So they will have to go through our territory to get there. Now more areas are taken over and they start moving over this direction. And this is bad because that's one of the only ways to enter the country. So by doing that, here you go. So they managed to enclose this area, but we start to fight back. But eventually they have to give in. But before they go, they connect themselves to the capital, and then they manage to just blockade with aid from the city and just start barricading the city like that. Now, back over here, they started advancing pretty forward up into the north, up to the city. Meanwhile, they start taking over more parts, and eventually they connect each other to here through the dense rainforest, and now things aren't looking too good. But easily, since they're over fighting here, we can fight back and push down and take the territory. Meanwhile, these guys are focused on keeping that, so we can start advancing inwards, connect with these troops, and then we go like that, and now they're enclosed. So we start and slowly enclose troops. So as we're doing that, then eventually some of these guys surrender. Now it's only these guys who are clearly losing the war, and we start pushing in from the south, and we start invading their headquarters over here, and eventually they give in. So that is what would happen if a civil war broke out. I hope you liked the video. Now, bye.